Bonjour tout le monde, welcome to Paris. My name is Jackie. I'm here in the 14th Arrondissement of Paris. This is on the Boulevard Arago. Okay, I'm just having a look here. I'll show you what I'm looking at. Turn my camera around. Bonjour, whoever's joining us. We're looking at the history of Paris, the Cité Fleurie. Okay. These were, we're standing outside some atelier, which are, an atelier is a workshop, so it's quite a cool little thing. So it's a selection, this is 65 Boulevard Arago. There are some little workshops all along here. Bonjour Judy, hello. So there's all these little workshops along here. This is all locked off, so it's not accessible by the public. We have 5 people online. Say hi, tell me where you're from. Okay, so these ateliers hosted lots of people. Gauguin, Modigliani. Okay, so a quaint little area on Boulevard Arago in the 14th. So this is right on the edge of the 14th and the 13th arrondissement. So the 13th is behind us here and we're right on the edge of the 14th. Okay, so these little ateliers here, artists' workshops, have been here since the late 1800s, and they were occupied by some famous artists in the early 1900s. So this area was quite bohemian back in the early 1900s, so you've got a lot of artists and writers who lived here. We have a nice little park here, who's named after an artist as well. So we were at a big park the other day. We were at the Parc de Chaumont, which is obviously a big example of a park. It was the 5th biggest park in Paris. There are a lot of little parks in Paris as well. Bonjour Margaret Redra, bonjour Thierry. Thank you for joining me. So this is the square Henri Cadieu. He lived at the Cité Fleurie, which was the art, the atelier that we just looked at. So we've had a few more people join us, so hello to everybody. We're on the Boulevard Arago in the 14th arrondissement. So this is very close to where I live. We are heading towards Denfert-Rochereau. Okay, so if I was to be walking my husband to work, I would walk down, not the street here, but basically he works over in that direction there. So we might go this way. So I've walked past here quite a few times, but I wanted to show you something that I always miss every time I walk past it, until one day I realized what it was. So here we have a great big huge stone wall. I don't know if you noticed it before I pointed my camera at it. So apart from Margaret, who already knows the answer, does anybody know what this might be? Let's look at the name of the street. Okay, so this is actually the 13th. I was in the 13th, I lied to you. So Rue de la Santé is in the 13th. So once we cross over, then we're in the 14th. So this is the 14th over here, Rue de la Santé. We have Nicolas, who says, bonjour Jackie, I'm near Disney. It's very cool to see Paris with le soleil. You know what, Nick? The forecast told me it was going to rain. I think the forecast lied. So yeah, it's very beautiful and sunny. Let me just point you down here. You can see the back of a beautiful cathedral called the Val de Basse. I've been wanting to go there for ages, but every time I go there it's shut. So I will go there at some point. So Judy said Rue de la Santé must be a hospital, I'm guessing. Well, there was. Down here it was the Hôpital Sainte-Anne, which is still there. But funnily enough, this large, I'll give you a clue, it has high walls with razor wire at the top. See the razor wire? Yeah. So I walked past here several times thinking, oh yeah, just a wall, just a wall. Yes, it's a prison. Judy says, is it a prison? Yes, it's a prison. So in fact, this prison is the only prison within the Paris city boundary. Yes, Terry, it is a prison, yes. So yeah, this is the only prison within the Paris city boundaries. It is the largest prison, one of the largest prisons in France. And there are two outside of Paris, just south of us here. But this is obviously the only one here. It's kind of scary to think that this is right here in my neighborhood, because, you know, like I said, for a long time I just walked past it and never noticed it. It is a high security prison, which is very scary. And what I also discovered is, I know Sharon, hi Sharon, kind of scary, right? Where we're standing right now is where they used to hold the executions with the guillotine. The last execution took place right in this spot here where we're standing. If we look around, we might be able to, no, I think they've redone the footpath, so you can't see where the guillotine would have once stood, but basically they set up a guillotine here to do their executions, the public executions that were. The last public execution happened here in 1939, so that really wasn't too long ago. So 1939, and it was in June, and later that month the very last public execution took place in Paris, in France. After that they were all private ones, which were, you know, which took place inside the courtyard, which is obviously in here, and that was in 1970 something. I can't remember the exact date, but yeah. This is a memorial here. Basically, during the occupation of Paris, people were arrested and put here during wartime. Is this Nick says, is this old, this bâtiment, this building? It's not old. It's about I think it was the early 1800s that it was built. But it does look really old, doesn't it? But it's quite vast, and like I said, it was really silly of me to not have noticed it every time I walked past it. But it's kind of cool, right? The other thing I discovered is one of its most famous occupants, so literally inside these walls right now, is a gentleman known as Carlos the Jackal. So if you know about Carlos the Jackal, he's got a totally different, it's not actually his real name, that's just what we in the Anglophone world refer to him as. In France they have a different name for him, which I can't remember off the top of my head. I was talking to my husband about him, and my husband didn't have any idea who I was talking about, and then he said, oh, you mean blah blah blah, and I was like, I've never heard that name before, but okay. So I looked it up and I said, oh yeah, that's right, yeah, him. So he was he is a Venezuelan soldier, let's call him, and he was arrested for a number of terrorist acts, one of which was a bombing at Le Drugstore, which is a cafe restaurant in right near the Arc de Triomphe on the Champs-Élysées, and 2 people died in that, and several, about 50 were injured. That was in 1975, and of course he was arrested for that, and he's still incarcerated because of that. He has several life sentences, so he's been in here since the late 1970s. So this is his home here. This great big walled establishment called La Santé. So yeah, it was called La Santé because of there being a church here, a hospital here. so Hôpital Sainte-Anne de la Santé, and so the area in the prison is still called La Santé. So Sharon says, thank you so much. We miss travelling due to COVID, I know, and that's the very reason why I started these walks, because I know how much people miss coming to Paris, and I like walking around and, you know, enjoying Paris myself, and I thought, well, why can't I share that with people? So that's why we're here. So thank you, Sharon. And Robin says, how interesting. Thank you, Robin. Yeah, so there's always little tidbits of information that can be discovered when walking around. Of course, I sometimes have to do a bit of extra research, but it's always interesting to find these things out, and quite often I'll go back several times to discover a bit more information. So if anyone's just joined us, we're in Boulevard Arago. Now across the road there's this beautiful church. I've never been in it. It is the Sisters of Saint Joseph de Cuny. So it's a relatively new church. It's from the 1800s. This sisterhood was set up in the early 1800s by a young lady who wanted to become a nun, and basically all the convents she went to didn't suit her, so she thought, well, I'll just set up my own. So the Sisterhood of Saint Joseph de Cuny, that has lots of places all over the world, but this is the the main area. So this is a whole convent, and this is the church which goes with it. But I love it because it kind of looks like it's floating. It's like high. And the church looks quite large, says Judy. Yeah, it does. But like I said, I haven't been to it. It's really tricky to get to. Very noisy street. So if you want to go to the prison, which you probably don't, if you want to go visit Carlos the Jackal, you could head down here and go visit. I'm only joking, of course. Okay, let's continue. Okay. Very noisy. Oh, administrative pénitentiaire. So that's from the prison. Okay, so people may be aware that there is a large trial going on at the moment at the Palais de Justice, which is on Ile de la Cité, between the Conciergerie and the Saint-Chapelle. And that's a very important court case regarding the Bataclan. Yes, it's a prisoner inside the van. That's right, Nick. Yeah, the sirens. You love the sirens. Yeah, they're kind of noisy when I'm doing a video, but that's okay. Okay, so this building over here is actually part of the Paris Universitaire, University of Paris. It is originally the Institute of Theology, Protestant theology. Yeah, Institut Protestant de Théologie. So it's part of the University of Paris. Of course, France is a Catholic country, but they obviously have a little bit of Protestantism going on. Of course, that was a huge bone of contention during the Middle Ages. Okay. Right, we're going to cross over the road. We've actually hit Rue de la Tombe d'Histoire. Just going to wait for the lights to go red and then we will cross over. Sharon says, it's a siren sound we miss. Sirens are so different in Australia. I think they're different everywhere, really. It's a very, very interesting siren sound in Paris. Maybe it's the density of the buildings that makes it echo in a certain way. Okay. Right. So this street we're on is, as I said, the Rue de Tom Isoire. Okay, and it's so named because there is an old legend about a giant. Yes, thank you, Nick. I will be careful in the crosswalks. Oh yeah, let me just stop. Sally says, yeah, Carlos the Jackal is Venezuelan, recently opened the case to get his sentence reduced. He did. So he was in court 2 or 3 weeks ago. He wanted to get his sentence reduced, I think, because he's quite old and he probably just wants to spend the last few years out, you know, on parole or something. And they said no. So he's back in La Santé, back there. Yeah. So yes, going back to the street, there was a, well actually this is the Rue de Faubourg Saint-Jacques. So it starts from here, goes that way. So that street down there, this was originally this is the original street into Paris from the Roman times. So this came from Orléans. So this is how you would enter Lutèce, and you had a lot of pilgrims who used to come this way, which is why this is the Rue de Faubourg Saint-Jacques, because you've got a number of monuments to Saint-Jacques. So the pilgrimage that goes from Spain and comes into here, it comes up through here, and so you've got the Église de Saint-Jacques du Haut-Pas, and then you've got Saint-Jacques de Boucherie, which is where the Tour Saint-Jacques is at Châtelet. So that goes up there. Okay, so this goes past the Sorbonne if we were to continue up here. And of course if you go this way it goes down to Port d'Orléans. Okay, so this dude, Isoire, he was a giant and he used to steal money from the pilgrims and people who would travel into Paris. And he was eventually captured and killed, and his body was buried in the area, which is why it's referred to as the Tomb de Isoire. And of course this just happens to also be the location of the Paris catacombs. So the catacombs are actually underneath where we are. The exit to the catacombs is just down here, and the entry of course is at Denfert-Rochereau, which is just over here. Okay, we've got a little group of kids out for a walk. Got a few schools along here. Okay, the final thing I wanted to show you in my little walk here today was the reason why this boulevard is called Arago, and this is one of my favorite things about this area. So we have a big monument here. This is F. Arago. Bonjour Susan McGregor. Oh, bonjour Monica as well. Bonjour Susan McGregor, bonjour Jackie. Looks lovely there today. It is indeed. The sun has blessed us. So this is a monument to F. Arago, c'est François Arago, 1786 to 1853. Okay, so this was erected to François Arago. Now he was a very special person. He was a mathematician, physicist, astronomer. And he made lots of amazing discoveries and was instrumental in the development of the Paris Meridian. So if you're familiar with Greenwich Mean Time, you know, the 0 point of time in our world which goes through Greenwich in London, because that was established in the late 1800s. But prior to that, most countries had their own meridian, and Paris had one of the earliest meridian lines in the world. So whenever they were doing navigation, cartography, they would always do it from their meridian point, and because France was a big navigating, exploratory power, and colonial power of course, they did a lot of map making at the time, and of course England did the same. So anyway, Monsieur Arago, was very much instrumental in developing a lot of things which occurred at this place here, which we got across the road to go and visit. Okay, just quickly, we'll show you this Medallion Arago, which I'll talk about. Okay, so if you have seen the movie The Da Vinci Code, and I have talked about this before, and I wrote an article about it several months ago. So there is along the meridian, there are these brass medallions, like I just showed you, the Arago line. The light is red, but I'm going to cross anyway, which is very dangerous. Okay. So these Arago lines are a new thing that were done in 1994 by a Dutch artist named Jan Diebe, I believe. And basically he placed all these brass markers throughout the city on the meridian line, the original meridian line. So of course there's one of them there. And here I will show you the actual meridian line. We're going into this little park here. Okay, so this line here was the first Paris meridian. That'll filmer, oui, oui, bien sûr. Yes. The man just asked me to shut the gate because they have dogs running around, so now I understand why the gate was shut. Okay. There's another statue dedicated to Monsieur Arago. Yeah. Which is very cool. So as you can see, this little park here, it's a bit of a dog haven. Okay, now I've just gone and moved out of the line of sight, but if you were able to see the very top, you can see a little bit of white there. So we're actually in the garden of the Paris Observatory. So the Paris Observatory was established in 1666 by Louis XIV, the Sun King. And it was built after that, and it's an amazing place which I've been wanting to visit for such a long time, but I can't because since COVID it's been shut to the public. But it's still a very important place for astronomical discoveries and geography and navigation and the sort. So of course this is all closed to the public at the moment. So if we were able to go in here, I would be wandering around here as well. So this is the garden of the observatory. So there we go. That's the meridian. I've never been to this garden, says Judy. Thank you. Sharon says, same here, Judy. So there we go. So I'm not sure how long I've talked to for, but I'm sure it's a really long time. Yes, it is. So I'm going to finish up there. So this is just a little bit of my neighbourhood here in the 14th. I will be heading down that way towards the Arrondissement, which is just down there. I will be finishing up, as I've announced on this event. I won't be doing walks on Tuesdays anymore. I'm just going to bring it down to once a week, so just Fridays. Loving the 14th, thank you. Yes, it's such a lovely neighbourhood to live in. I really love it here, so it's great. So yeah, I won't be doing walks on Tuesdays anymore. I'll just be doing them on Friday. So I will see you on Friday. Don't have anything planned as such for this Friday, but I will get that sorted and I'll post an event for you very soon. Thank you for everybody who's joined me. Thank you for everybody who has joined me over the months and everything, because I really enjoy doing these for you, particularly when you're able to join me live. So that's really good to get feedback and everything. I do enjoy that aspect of it. So thank you for that, and thank you for my mummy who's online too. It's nice to see her. I will see you on Friday, and in the meantime, everyone take care and have a great evening or day wherever you are. Judy says mille fois, merci mille fois, Jackie. Au revoir, bye. Bye, Margaret. Bye, everybody. Take care. Oh, Sharon, it's your first session. Please come back and see us on Friday, same time on Friday, okay? We will see you again. Thank you, Robin. I appreciate you coming to see us. Take care, everybody. Bye.